Hello everyone, and welcome back to our lab tutorial for the first lab. And besides the lab course content, we also want to introduce to you how to uh, download the Visual Studio Code from website and also the Python, in case that some of you may not be so familiar with this compiler. But for details of Visual Studio Code and Python uh, basic programming, as they are not the focus of this course, so we will not get much into it. But you can also check the online materials for the introduction of Visual Studio Code as well as the Python basic programming languages. And in order to use Visual Studio Code, which is the basic compiler that we're gonna use in this course, and also the Python programming languages, we're gonna first go to the Visual Studio Code website. You can just type Visual Studio Code in Google, and then it will bring you to this website. And then you can download it for Windows or for Mac if you are using Mac. But the basic function of this compiler is the same for both operating system. And you can see that we are downloading the Visual Studio Code from the website. And once it's finished, we can double click it and it will open a installation um, interface. I'm using the Chinese language version, and this means that you can choose the location of the Visual Studio Code that you're gonna um, install, and you can leave the rest of the part as is still because it will not affect the basic function of Visual Studio Code. And then click installation, and then it will install the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so once it's finished, we can open Visual Studio Code and you can see the basic interface of the Visual Studio Code. You can see several interface that has been loaded. This is because I have installed Visual Studio Code before, so it will just save it for you and put the local data on your computer in case that you delete it randomly and then want to get them back all again. And the basic interface is like this, so you can open terminal using this terminal um, in the left top, and you can open new terminals, and then there is a terminal window that we're gonna see in common PowerShell as well. And if you want to use to build a new file, you can click file here, and then it will give you several options like the Jupyter Notebook and Python file. So we got to introduce to you Jupyter Notebook in this tutorial as well. And so we have Visual Studio Code, and we're gonna need to install Python. So we're gonna go to the Python official website, and then here, there have a lot of Python versions, and we recommend you to install Python 3.7.4. This is because some Python version may be conflicted with the TensorFlow packages, and we use it um, for to avoid the possible confliction. And we can click download here um, to find the targeted Python version. For example, if I'm going to search for Python 3.7.4, we can, of course, we can search it here, and it will give you the Python version of 3.7.4 here, and you can click into it and then drag it here. For Mac OS system, you can um, download the installer here using click these two links. But for Windows, we gotta click the Windows executable installer here, and we click here, it will give you a installation. And then don't please be careful when you are installing the Python um, application, because you will have to add the Python 3.7 to the path in case to avoid some kind of situation where your location of putting Python is different from the packages, and it will definitely cause you some errors, and we want to avoid that kind of situation. So we can take this add Python 3.7 to path box and then click install now, and then it will start the setup progress. And once the setup was successful, we're gonna check whether it was installed to our computer successfully. So we're gonna open new terminal here, and inside here, inside the terminal box, we're gonna input Python. Sorry, in case that you may not want to see this kind of confliction, you may need to first cancel the Visual Studio program and then reopen it, so the Python environment here will be refreshed, and then you should be able to go inside Python interface. Okay, so now we have both the Python and also the Visual Studio Code. We're gonna teach you how to open the Jupyter Notebook. So in order to open the Jupyter Notebook, you're gonna first add the extension of Jupyter Notebook. So you're gonna click the extension here in the left bar, and then search for Jupyter Notebooks, this one. And then if you go into it, there shouldn't be an uninstall here. Instead, you should see an install button here. This is because that my computer has already installed the extensions, so I don't have to install it again. But for your version, you will have to install the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and then we gonna install a thing called the PIP. Okay, and here, um, sometimes we want to add a package to the Python environment. For example, we're gonna have to install, for example, NumPy in this lab tutorial. So you're gonna use this line of code pip install NumPy. And if it says that requirement already is satisfied, meaning that you have already installed these packages. And if you are saying something like uh, a lot of code here, it may be that your packages it was downloading, uh, and it may also be that your requirement had already been satisfied. Okay, so don't forget to use the pip installer to install packages before going to the lab tutorial. Okay, and we can also pip install a thing called IPY kernel. And for my version, I have already installed this packages, so it's that the requirement already satisfied. But for your version, don't forget to install this IPY kernel, and then we go back to the file button here, and you add a new file in Jupyter Notebook version, and then if you have several kinds of Python environment, for example, somebody are installed, for example, 3.7.4 version, and then also a 3.8 version, and then you can change the version of the Python by clicking this button here. It will give you the versions that you have in your computer. So for me, I only have the Python 3.7.4 version. So I gonna have to click it, and then we can test whether this block can be executed and output the result. And input the basic code, print yes. So originally it should have printed years in here. So let me test it if it has been imported to the environment correctly. So I click the execute cell. Okay, so there is a yes here, meaning that this Visual Studio Code with Jupyter Notebook is ready to go. Okay, so that's so far for Jupyter Notebook, Visual Studio Code, and also the Python installation tutorial. If you have missing anything or you are encounter some kind of weird bug, don't panic. We will still go over the whole procedure in our lab, so you can ask me or the other TAs during the lab for anything related to the Visual Studio Code and Jupyter Notebook in that time. But we strongly recommend you to go through some online materials before you um, join the lab because it will save us both time and we can carry out the content in normal pattern and in right uh, way. Okay, that's so much for the installation tutorial, and thanks for your listening. And I will see you in the lab in Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you.